Specialty recognizes the importance, the value, and the critical role trees and natural areas play in the overall environment of a developed property. AMLI wants to protect and preserve, to the maximum extent possible, the natural areas and native trees during the construction process. Preservation and protection, however, can only be accomplished with the dedicated participation and total commitment of all contractors, consultants, and employees working on an AMLI property. AMLI asks each of you to share in our commitment to create an enduring environment that all of us can be proud of.
The trees on a property like this one are really important because they are one of the key assets that come with the property. And we feel it's important to identify these assets and make sure that they're here for the long-term benefit of the project itself and the community in general.
AMLI saves and moves trees at many of its developments because AMLI believes that good, strong environmental policy is good business. The simple fact is today the users and the residents of our planned developments love open space, they love trees, they love water, and they want it incorporated in the communities in which they live and work. AMLI wants to deliver that quality product to today's marketplace.
At each property, AMLI undertakes a tree inventory to identify those trees that will be saved and moved. We attempt to move as many trees as possible from areas that will be impacted by construction to a temporary nursery on the site. At the end of the construction process, these trees will then be transplanted to their final locations.
Well, the tree inventory process is really a two-step process, and we do this in the planning phase of the project for some very specific reasons. The first thing that we do is determine the trees that we want to identify and locate, and we go through the process of tagging each tree individually. You'll notice on the trees in the field that we have a round tag with a number on it. We record specific information about that tree, its species, size, condition, vigor, any particular problems that tree may have. The second step in that process is to have a surveyor on site physically locate each one of those trees. And the reason for that is that that information is then shown on all the construction and planning documents. You'll notice on the site that we have the protective fencing placed around the trees. The location of this fence was determined based on the size of the tree. What we're trying to accomplish by doing this is protect the root zone of the tree. The root zone of the tree is determined by the diameter of the tree. We use a distance of 1 foot of radius for every inch of tree diameter. So if we have a 20-inch diameter tree, we will have a radius on the ground of 20 feet. The critical area on the root zone is in the top 6 to 8 inches. If we compact that soil or we disturb that soil, we've damaged an awful lot of the root system of the tree. So we have to be aware of that and respect the fences and stay out of the root zone areas of the trees.
It is critical that you obey signs and stay out of fenced areas. The yield to the trees signs are there to remind you how very fragile the root system is. Soil compaction caused by equipment traffic over the root zone of a tree reduces vital air spaces around tree roots. AMLI asks that you stay within designated roadways and parking areas. We need your help to protect the root systems of the trees we are trying to save and preserve.
Even if we have a situation where there isn't a protective fence around a tree, we want everybody to be aware of the fact that that tree is important to the project, and before we get into that area around the tree and maybe park a piece of machinery or think about changing some oil under there, we ought to step back and think what we're really doing to that tree and why we shouldn't be doing that.
Please service your vehicle only in designated service areas. A major danger associated with servicing your equipment is that fluid can overflow and literally kill all plant life, including a large tree, if the fluid gets into the root zone.
If you're operating a backhoe around one of the trees, be aware of your overhead clearance. You know, it's not a problem for us if we have to do some additional pruning for you to get access to some of your work.
Be aware of your overhead clearance and watch that you do not damage tree limbs. AMLI has tried to minimize the potential of damage from overhead equipment by pruning trees that are close to the roadways. We need your help to prevent unnecessary damage to these trees that AMLI is working to protect and preserve. Please do not litter on the site. Trash barrels are provided, and AMLI appreciates your help in keeping the site clean. When you consider the number of people who will pass through each AMLI property during the development phase, littering is simply unacceptable. Let's be proud of a clean and orderly property.
If I could talk to each construction worker, to each person coming upon our property, I would say, please share AMLI's commitment to preserving and enhancing the natural beauty of this property. Let's work together to save these trees. Let's not cause needless damage from lack of thought or lack of attention to the rules. Let's work together to make this a lovely development, something that the community and all of us can be proud of.
Protecting the future and maintaining the delicate balance between man and nature is always difficult. A great deal of effort and vigilance is required when natural areas and large mature trees are being asked to survive the impact of a major construction site. Please approach your assignment, whatever it might be, not just as a job, but as a commitment to be an important part of the AMLI team, and to be aware of what the impact of your actions can be. AMLI asks that our development site be just as important to you as we hope it will be to the community at large, to future users, and to all of the people who will enjoy the natural beauty of the site.